fact about our canine units, because they're very expensive, is we have a drug budget that the drug dealers pay for, which means when we catch them selling out of a house or their vehicle, or they have proceeds on them, money on them, when we arrest them, we take that asset forfeiture money. And these two dogs have cost almost $40,000 with dogs, training, equipment, and all of that money is non-county budget, non-county taxpayer money that is all funded by the drug dealers themselves, which I think is huge for this county, because just goes back to the drug dealers are paying for us to do what we're doing. So I hope that was worth something. That every other presentation we did, people were asking for the dogs, and it's nice just to introduce them. To start the presentation tonight, we have a PowerPoint. We'll run through it pretty quickly. We want to talk about all kinds of drugs. We especially want to talk about prescription drugs and heroin, because that's what we're seeing in Columbia County, and that's what we're having problems with. Lodi is not exempt from that problem. Matter of fact, I would say from the entire county, it would be Lodi, Portage, Hardyville are the three worst jurisdictions for heavy drug use, followed by Poinet. We don't see a lot up by the Dells for that type of drugs, and we don't see a lot down by Columbus, Fall River, Cambria, Randolph, although there are obviously drugs there, and heavier drugs like heroin and prescription drugs and meth, but it's really this area and the central area of our county. So I'm glad to see these many people here. The only way this is going to work, and the only way we're going to get the information to you guys, is if you have questions, just ask them. We are not offended by them. Nothing is a stupid question. We want to provide this information to you and give you at least some information and resources to take away from this. We get calls all the time from parents, from school officials, just regular citizens that their loved ones are addicted to heroin or prescription drugs. They stole it from them. We get all that. I know there's some probably personal stories in this room. I recognize a few people. We understand that. We have personal stories in our families as well. Nobody is exempt from this problem. This is all over in all demographics, in all geographics, and all types of the world. It's just the way it is. If you don't know, and I don't know people from Columbia County has a bad problem with heroin. Matter of fact, Dodge County just used us as a reference when they talked about getting another drug detective. And they had an opening in their jail, and the sheriff went to the county board and said, we don't want to become Columbia County and have a heroin problem. I don't need a jailer right now. I need a drug detective. And they used that funds from the open jail spot to get a drug detective. When you talk about Columbia County, and the detective will go through some of the information and stats later, this right here is really our drug unit. And people don't understand that. When we talk about the kind of cases we make and the amount of arrests we make, and really good cases, compared to full-time drug units with a dozen full-time drug investigators, they don't understand that we have one full-time drug investigator in the county. We've had support. Lodi Police Department is a great ally of ours. They have sent up an officer, and we've trained them, and they've worked with our drug unit. Portage Police Department has sent up an officer at a time to work full-time drug unit, and they no longer do that because they have responsibilities as well. I've got 5 total detectives in my office, and he's one of them, and I don't have the availability to assign another one because of the other general caseload. We've in the past used a deputy and pulled them from the road to help work full-time drugs, and we had to put that deputy back on the road because we're so short on the road as well. So this is the Columbia County Drug Unit full-time. Nobody else in this county, no other jurisdiction in this county works drugs full-time. Portage doesn't, Dells doesn't, Columbus doesn't, nobody does. So we just have one. And he'll go into that a little bit more as we go through this presentation. Remember, we are law enforcement. Our job, our duty, what we are tasked to do is enforce the laws. We are not in the rehabilitation business. We are not in the treatment business, even though we're sensitive to that. Our jails do not treat drug addicts. Our jails do not provide counseling. We don't have that in the budget. We don't have the availability for that, and we're not obligated to do that. Now, it's needed, and that's where Columbia County lacks a lot, is the treatment part of the drug addiction. There are places in Columbia County that you can go for drug addiction. There's help that you can get. The sheriff's office and the jail is not one of those places. And I'm not trying to be mean, I'm just trying to be straight up with you and realistic of how it is. I personally believe that the jail is not a place for a drug addict long term, because they're not going to get the help. I believe that the jail is the perfect place for a drug addict, initially, short term. And the reason I say that, even though in fact, we just made an arrest out of our jail here 2 days ago with drugs in the jail, and we frequently are seeing drugs embezzled into the jail. Most people in the jail obviously don't have drugs. They can't get drugs, so they have a great place to sober out. When they're in our jail for those first 5, 6, 7 days, they are sobering out, they're going through their DTs, they're going through all the withdrawals, they're doing those things and getting past that period of time where they don't think they can get past. Because withdrawals are real. You're not going to die from them. Your family members are not going to die from them. They're going to be okay, but they feel they're going to die from them, and it's really hard. And when parents call up and say, what do I do with my son or daughter or my loved one? Do I bond them out for the $1,500? You can do what you want. My recommendation, if it was my kid, I'm leaving them in jail for those 5 or 7 days. Then I'm going to bond them out, and then I'm going to get them into a treatment facility. Because it's the first few days that are the most important. And I think you'll see that through this presentation.